Looking back, I had a few run-ins. It's very hard to summarize the censorship system in China. It's complicated because it's not cut and dried. Nobody will say, you cannot report on this. If you do, you will go to jail. Nobody says that ever. The longer I worked and lived in China, the more I thought I knew the place. The people I was talking to gave me this false sense of security that I was safe. I think I had an inflated sense of how the Chinese system worked. My name is Cheng Lei. I was born in 1975, grew up in Hunan province, a central southern province, infamous for being the birthplace of Mao. My childhood was relatively impoverished. Most of China was poor. I had no idea what the outside world was like, but in September of 1985, my life changed when I heard, as a 10-year-old, that I would be going to Australia. I felt like it was the most wonderful and exciting thing. And I just remember it was so bright. The air smelled different. Everything was strange and intimidating. And it was my life-changing journey.
How would you describe yourself?
Especially after incarceration, I figured out that was I supposed to start crying this early? I'm a kind person, and I love to help people. It makes me happy to see others happy, and upsets me when people feel hurt or sad around me. I'm creative and expressive and emotional, and I love to learn.
Lei has probably one of the sharpest intellects that I've ever met, but she's also a real, what I would say, a real dag. She's got daggy taste in music and in films. She's very down to earth, very loving, kind, great mum, really good daughter. Once you become her friend, you feel that she's very loyal. She's a really, really good friend.
I'm the mother to two wonderful children, Ava and Alex. And like me, they've been through a lot.
The origin country of coronavirus, China, has announced it will close its borders to foreign nationals this weekend. It's not clear how long the closure, which applies to foreigners holding valid visas, will remain in place. The Chinese government says the measures will be adjusted and calibrated in light of the evolving situation.
When COVID first hit, Ava and I and Alex were in Beijing. The kids couldn't go back to school, so they went to Australia for what was supposed to be a short time. But when China closed its borders and their flights were cancelled, they couldn't come back. It was so difficult for me because the kids had been constantly with me since the day they were born. I've taken them to work, take them everywhere. And now we were separated. It was such a desperate situation. Called in every favour I could to find out how the kids could fly back and when China would reopen its borders. I didn't have work that day. I was woken up by messages telling me to go to work. When I got to the meeting room, discovered instead of a one-on-one, there were 20 people sitting around a huge table. A man held up a badge and said that I was being investigated for supplying state secrets to foreign entities. My bag and phone were immediately seized. I didn't know why they looked so hostile. Then when the man started speaking, I was listening to the words, but it wasn't sinking in. I didn't say anything. I did as I was told. They raided my apartment while I sat in the living room. I was still protected by that calm and the confidence of the truly innocent. I felt they could go crazy, take everything. And in fact, the more the better. They'll just be disappointed. We left my apartment. I was blindfolded, and we drove to the Ministry of State Security detention facility. I remember the sunset. It was the last time I would feel the sun for more than a year.
My name is Jeff Raby. I was the Australian ambassador to China from 2007 to 11. When you look at the Chinese judicial system, it's obviously very different than ours. It works on the basis of arrest on suspicion. You are held on the presumption of guilt, and then the evidence against you is collected and the case is put together. It is a system that most people in this country would find very, very disagreeable, very wrong.
RSDL is the Chinese spelling for hell. It stands for residential surveillance at a designated location, which makes you think it's house arrest. But in reality, it's mental torture.